Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Have another 2024 rookie report for you. Jason DiRienzo, my podcast co host, and I are going to break down Jonathon Brooks for you, an exciting running back headed to the NFL. RB1 for a lot. He's high in our ranks as well. We're going to talk about his stats. We're going to talk about his PFF grades. We're going to talk about his scouting report, his draft and dynasty projections, all wrapped up for you. So you play Dynasty, you play Fantasy, you're looking for a YouTube channel out there that's going to give you an early look at the 2024 class. Hit that subscribe button. And we're already talking about 2025 and 2025 or six classes as well. So let's get to the show. Thanks for watching. Jason, let's talk about Jonathon Brooks. All right. Texas running back, 6 foot, 207-pound, true junior. Man, what a year he had before he tore his ACL. I'm really excited to talk about him. He's an exciting running back. Very little surprise that, he ended up declaring for the NFL draft and excited for him too. So he
Surprised
might
about
as
that too.
you know what? Shit. I'm like, you know what? Go for it, brother. You know what? If you're getting the draft, if there's teams out there that are showing an interest in you and he's getting word from the NFL that he could potentially be a day two running back, why not go? Right. So let's talk
Yeah.
about his scouting report here, or his rookie report rather. So his career statistics, these numbers are all low, guys, across the board. For his first 2 years at Texas, he played behind Bajan and Roshan Johnson. So these stats that I'm going to kind of go over here, you can see on the screen too if you're watching on YouTube. 232 rushes for 3 seasons, and most of this production came this season. 1,400 yards, 15 TDs, averaging 6.3 yards a tote. Receptions, 26 receptions, 298 yards a TD, and 11.5 yards average. Again, most of that was in 2023. He had one fumble in 3 seasons, but he really didn't play much as a freshman and sophomore at Texas with all that great talent in front of him. His PFF stats all across the board. His rushing grade is great. Yards after contact, solid. Elusive rating, super high. Gotta like all of these stats going to, 18
Yeah.
carries, 16 carries of 15 yards plus, yards per route run. He was tied 30th in college football at 1.45. Missed tackles forced, ranked 22nd in college football with 63. The stats are, not very productive over 3 years, but man, what we saw in 2023, he looked like a special back before he tore his ACL. So I'm super excited he's going to the NFL.
Yeah. You know what that elusive rating is kind of blows my mind a little bit. I'm not sure if I saw that. But you know what? I definitely saw him make players miss. We'll get into the concerns, but that one definitely stands out to me.
Yeah, really? Okay, because I think in our
Yeah.
scouting report, we might have something a little different here. I think he's got pretty good footwork. I think he's got some lateral ability. I call him like either for a running back, either have sweet feet or beat feet. I mean, if you don't have quick feet and you can't move laterally as a running back, I mean, you're going to have a role maybe in the NFL for a while, but you're never going to be a consistency fantasy producer. I really felt that he had some good footwork. Were you suggesting that maybe you didn't think that he had the
No,
elusiveness?
No, I like
In
the
that?
footwork. It's not
Mhm.
that I don't like the footwork. I think it's very subtle footwork that he uses, and he can kinda process pursuit angles. For me, it's once he gets past the trenches into that second level, I'm not sure if he's making too many other guys miss unless there's a clear path for him to
Mhm.
take. So that's where my kinda concern of that, elusiveness and some of the agility too. I mean, for a guy who's 6 foot 207, I came away impressed, but I just didn't see the second and third level elusiveness from the film that I watched. But in the
Yeah.
trenches, I have no qualms. I think he can string together moves and get past pretty easily.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of backs when they get when they accelerate, they lose the ability to laterally move. I mean, this only the special backs can really move
Right.
laterally when they're, running kind of at full speed. Listen, he's a little undersized at 6 foot, 207
Mhm.
pounds, but I think he has really good contact balance. I mean, I saw him, tacklers bouncing off him. He's got good forward lean. I think he's got some good lower power, in the lower half of his
Mhm.
body. And I think the other thing I just want to mention is that he's really got fresh legs, right? I mean, there's not a lot
Right.
of wear on his tires. I know he tore his ACL, but ACL tears anymore. Um, I don't know. I think we just saw Brees Hall return from an ACL tear, and he looked better than ever this year, and is
Right.
one of the best running backs in all of NFL. So, but other outside of his ACL tear, I mean, you've got a guy who has not got a lot of wear and tear. So he's a young player, and he's doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on that body. So I think that's a favorable trait that he has, just that he hasn't been worked to death for, as like a senior like Blake Corum, who's gotten, 200 runs probably a year, a season. He's got fresh legs going to the NFL.
And that goes a long way. I think that's why a lot of teams were really, interested in Damian Pierce when he was coming out because of the
Mhm.
fresh legs and the limited wear and tear. I think experience is also very important too, which is another thing that I kind of wish that he did go back and just get a little bit more experience. He had to sit behind Bijan
Mhm.
Robinson, probably didn't want to have to compete with CJ Baxter this year, and I totally get it. You only want to wait so long to get on the field and have it be yours. So I can understand that part of it. My biggest concern is going to be he embraces contact, and that's great at the college level. But I don't know if that's a sustainable run style in the NFL, especially when we saw what happened this year with the tearing of the ACL. I want to see him, and I think that's where the evasion of pursuit angles and defenders, instead of wanting to really embrace that contact, I want to see a little bit more creativity from him and some more fluid navigation. The defenses that I saw him play against, it's not. I'm not saying anything about his skill set, but the defenders, the pursuit angles that they had made it pretty easy for him to elude. And we can say that about a lot of running backs, but
Mhm.
embracing contact, I just want to see him be a little bit smarter with how he runs with the ball. I don't want to see him end up with, these injuries. And I think that might happen considering the size at the same time in this injury too. Mentally, I hope he doesn't try to hold back. I want to see him get a little bit smarter.
Yeah, and my one of my knocks on him was watching his film, and I just started did an all 22 film room with one of my dashboard subscribers. I'll be putting that out shortly. Was he runs sometimes with a high pad level. So, which
Okay.
is kind of which is
And
going to
and
tie into my comp here that we're going to talk about in a minute. But that kind of goes with your play style, high pad level, taking on
exactly.
too much
Yep.
contract instead of trying to, there's nothing wrong with a running back, lowering the pads and giving a lick when there's really nothing else to do, but you should
No,
be
not at
looking
all.
to,
No,
move around one of these players.
I like that toughness.
Yeah, exactly. So I just did a mock draft show on my YouTube channel here. I did a kind of a grading thing with Dane Brugler, and Dane Brugler had him as the first quarter or first running back taken in his mock draft recently, going to the
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys. So let's get right into his NFL draft capital. That's a good
Yeah.
segue into that. Yeah, Dan Brugler thinks he is arguably the number one running back, and Dallas Cowboys. What a great landing spot that would be, right? I think Tony
That'd
Pollard
be
is going
huge.
to move along, but he has him in the second round, so I think he's a day two guy. Do you think he's a day two pick, like lock at this point, or do you think he could slip into day three?
If I'm evaluating him, I see him more as the early day 3 type of guy.
Okay, I could see that because
Yeah.
we're going to get into where we have them ranked in the class. But yeah,
Mhm.
we could certainly see maybe him going in the fourth round. We know how these teams are devaluing running backs, especially coming
Right.
off with an ACL tear. It could maybe also make some teams pause whether or not they want to give him the high draft capital. But let's say, for example, he does get day two draft capital, right? Superflex rookie pick. I'm thinking solid second rounder. Do you think
I think
that?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where he would come off. I mean, especially if he gets like day two draft capital with a great landing spot, might squeeze into round one. But I think there's too many quarterbacks and good wide receivers in this class. But everybody loves running. A lot of people like running backs. Not everybody loves running backs, but a lot of people do. So
There
he
might
might.
be some, panic to take a running back considering it's gonna
That's
be a bit
very
top
true.
heavy and then it's gonna fall off.
Yeah,
So I could see
exactly.
him
So
definitely going in a second.
So our dynasty player comp, I'm going to talk about. He reminds me of Rashad White, right? When Rashad White was coming out of Arizona State, he reminded me of similar size, I think, but running with high pad level, had some sort of lateral agility. Um, so Rashad White is my comp. Listen, if he can, Rashad White is excelling at Tampa Bay right now. I think it's more
Mhm.
of a success of an opportunity more than a complete skill set. I don't think his yards per carry is very high here in 2023, but from a play style, from a size, and I think they could both catch the ball out of the backfield too. So that's something we didn't really talk about with Jonathan Brooks. I think he could be a really good pass catcher. I think he looks like a natural pass catcher with the ball in his
Yeah,
hands.
I agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. And honestly, I mean, if he lands with the Cowboys, I mean, this whole conversation kind of changes a bit because the opportunity is going to be there on a dynamic offense. So,
Mhm.
yeah, the opportunity is definitely going to play into it. I have Trey Sermon as my comp, and this is
Mm.
not supposed to be a bad thing. I mean, what I saw from Trey Sermon at Oklahoma, and then when he went over to Ohio State, he's just a hard nosed runner. Has a nose for the hole and just wants to do whatever he can to gain as many yards after contact as absolutely possible. And I see the same physical strength, but it's also the same upright style and embracing contact that I saw from Trey Sermon as well. So again, hopefully a different path, but this is not supposed to be a knock. I think Trey Sermon is a very talented running back when he was coming out of college, and I see the same thing with Jonathan Brooks.
Hopefully a different path. All the Jonathan
Hopefully a
Brooks
different path.
believers watching this right now, Jason, they're not very happy. Giving it
Oh,
a
that's okay.
Trey
Hey,
a, a Trey Sermon comp, it's not very favorable.
well, I mean, I see what I see, and
You see
when I
what you
watch
see.
Trey Sermon, I see Jonathan Brooks and vice versa, so I
Okay.
can't do anything about it.
So tell me, where do you have him ranked in your 2024 running back rookie ranks right now?
Yeah, once I removed, Devin Neal and Trevion Henderson, actually, I have him 6 right here. He's actually number 5 for me.
Okay, I got him at number 4, so we're kind of close.
No, no,
It's
we're pretty close.
pretty
Yeah,
close. Okay, so there we go. There you guys got it. There's our Jonathan Brooks rookie report. It's going to be fascinating to see how all of these running backs where they're taken this year. Given the fact that this class really doesn't have it a tier like a top guy that it's like unanimous. Like last year with
crazy, man.
John Robinson, it was like him and then maybe
Right.
everybody else.
Kids.
Who knows who's going to be drafted first this year? It's
I know.
we're early in the process, but it's going to be fun nonetheless. So there's your guys.
Maybe
There's our
Harbaugh is gonna wanna take his, guy in Blake Corn for the Chargers, and, we'll see
yeah,
what
yeah,
happens there,
right.
right?
He just got the
Yeah,
job in the Chargers, right? Very cool. Yeah,
yeah,
wouldn't that be something? Wow. I
that'd
can
be
see that
something.
name. Yeah, that's interesting. Good point. All right, guys, there is our Jonathan Brooks rookie report.